Welcome to Trust Your Inner Sense with Joanne Starkman podcast. I'm Joanne Starkman, and I look forward to going on this collaborative journey with you to ignite inspiration, inspire self-discovery, and instill new meaning in life. I'm excited to host a wonderful array of guests, including innovators, creatives, expert coaches, teachers, and much, much more who come together to share their stories. Each episode reveals how they've embraced their inner sense to pursue their passions and shine their unique lights in the world. We'll have thought-provoking discussions and chat about tools that will provide fresh perspectives to help you create a joyful and meaningful life. As founder and chief visionary officer of award-winning hair care brand Inner Sense Organic Beauty, I am also an avid meditator, platform artist, author, and mother of a special needs young adult. Over 20 years ago, I intentionally brought mindfulness to morning routines by authoring each affirmation on Inner Sense Organic Beauty's products, which we call Innerflections. You can check them out on the back of the bottle. It's my goal to have this podcast to be your warm and compassionate companion, whether you're on a journey for deeper meaning, seeking greater joy, or in need of love and healing. Let's continue our journey of self-discovery, self-care, and self-love. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive into this week's Trust Your Inner Sense episode now. Welcome, friends. I'm so excited for you to be here today. I have an incredible guest. Her name is Sarah Grace, and she's spent 15 years using her psychic abilities while working as a paramedic in California's busiest 911 system. She helped countless people navigate extreme crises, specializing in physical and energetic support during life-threatening moments. Today, Sarah is a best-selling author, renowned intuitive healer, and founder of Empath-X, an online community and learning platform that teaches one profound truth: sensitivity is your superpower. She's been featured on Gaia TV, Hay House Radio, NPR, Coast to Coast, and New Living Expo, and has supported clients in 18 countries and 58 states. Sarah's passion lies in teaching energetically sensitive people how to thrive and guide them to reclaim their personal power. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. I'd love our listeners to hear directly from you. Please take a minute to introduce yourself.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. And
Yes.
lovely to connect. Hello and welcome to everyone listening. And it's 48 states, not 58, because there are 58 states, but it's 48 states.
Oh, sorry about that.
People be like, wait a second, what?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I was thinking, yeah, anyway, worldwide. You've
Oh, yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
I'm dealing in alternate realities over here.
That we do. That we do. Well, it's awesome to be here. Thank you so much. And yes, I have been able to see, hear, and feel energy outside of the normal senses since I was a kid. So I was 7, raised in the middle of nowhere, tiny town, South Dakota, no internet yet. So I couldn't just Google, why do I see dead people or why do I see colors? And family dynamics were very violent, unsafe, unstable, and a lot of very conservative beliefs. So when I finally start talking about, seeing colors and spirits, it was the hellfire and brimstone is what I was met with, which when you're 7 in the middle of nowhere, you just want to fit in. You just want
Of course.
and so that was a pivotal moment for me because it really burned into my little kid brain that there was something wrong with me. And that lodged a deep sense of toxic shame, which played out for the next 20 plus years in many ways. But eventually, I became a paramedic and used those abilities for good. And that really revolutionized the way that I feel and understand these abilities now.
That's incredible. Well, as a paramedic, like I had mentioned, in California's busiest 911 system, how'd you integrate your intuitive abilities, in high stake and life and death situations?
Yes. So I still was very closeted at the time. And I didn't want to be like, I'm around all these alpha dog, firefighters and SWAT dudes. So I didn't want to be the weird girl who sees dead people. Right. I
Right.
finally fit in. I finally got a job that's like, societally accepted after a long time of struggling with acceptance of my abilities and pushing them away. I had tried everything to push them away. So I was still closeted and uneducated. And the energies just started working through me. So it was nothing I was trying to do, but ultimately I became a midwife for death, if you will.
Mm.
Experience going on a 911 scene was very matrix like. So
Mhm.
I would get out of the ambulance and everything would expand and slow down. It would become fractal or crystalline. I would know 2 or 3 steps ahead what was coming. I could always sense death. That was kind of my strength. And there's nothing to fear in that. But I was able to watch how the soul releases from the bodies at the moments of death. I was watching how angels and celestials and even deceased family members come to greet the people that are passing. And so for 15 years, yeah, I started in South Central Los Angeles, and then I was in the Bay, kind of close to you in San Jose, and then outside of, in Sacramento 911. So I kind of did the whole deal there. And I was able to countless times experience this expanded state of what happens right in those moments of transition. And it was really beautiful. It was a lot, when I didn't understand, and when I
Mhm.
feared it. But ultimately, it happened enough times, and I was able to really be there in those very traumatic or very intense moments. And I started to question what I had been told and what I thought. I was like, how could this be bad? Like, I'm helping
Mhm.
these people in their worst moments. So
Mhm.
began to become empowered.
That's amazing. I've been listening to a lot of near death experiences lately, a specific podcast, and I just find it all so fascinating that different people's stories are so different but yet there's different threads, so you talk about like the matrix and all that kind of stuff. I mean, this is kind of an off base question, but I just wonder, have you connected with a lot of people that have had near death experiences because you yourself kind of are still here? And I don't know. I guess I don't even know what question I'm really asking, but it just makes me think about like all these people that have had so many different experiences that haven't actually, they've crossed over, but then they've come back into their body. I just wonder if you have any comments or insight on any of that.
Absolutely. So, death is as natural as birth. We tend to fear it in our society. When people have near death experiences, oftentimes we go into a higher state of consciousness where everything makes sense because down here in the human condition, we're designed to forget that we
Mm,
are energetic or spiritual beings having a physical experience. That's not bad or wrong. We came here to have our little human, deal. We want to like be in the sandbox and make our choices and have the contrast, feel like we're autonomous. And on higher planes of, there's so many different dimensions all simultaneously happening that we're designed to forget that. But when we have a near death experience, we remember. It's like all of those filters have been blown open and we're like, oh, right. Yeah, I totally remember. And for myself, when I had an overdose and a near death experience at about age 19 or 20, it was that heightened state of consciousness. And then I was given a choice. Like, you can, if you continue, you can't go back. But if you choose to come back, you're going to be able to help a lot of people with this energy stuff.
yeah.
And so everybody's experience in death and transition is unique, and there are commonalities that I've.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
that's
biggest takeaway, you guys, nothing to fear. And you're never ever alone. You will always be greeted by something or someone.
hmm that's beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Well, your memoir, Journey into Grace, vividly describes working as a psychic paramedic. What was the most transformative moment while writing that story?
Yeah. Oh, my coming to terms with process. It was
Uh,
like giving birth to a porcupine, writing that. It wasn't just about the calls that I saw and what I saw on the ambulance, which was a lot and intense anyway, but my own struggles with overcoming fear and shame, and the things that I had done to myself as a result of coming from a traumatic and violent upbringing, not having stability, not having a sense of self, safety, belonging. or any sort of understanding as to why I have these abilities and what to do with them. So when I was writing it, I just remember banging my head on the table because my guides were like, put everything in there. I was like, oh man,
Oh.
I did this stuff. And they're like, everything. So I did. And that I really believe has been the key because people all over are, people are where they're at. They're struggling with what they're up to. We're all human doing the best we can. And sometimes it's nice to be like, oh, well, she did that and all the way to the point that she overdosed and died and then came back and now she's like healthy and happy. So that means that maybe I can do that too. Right. So the willingness to be real about the full spectrum of the experience and not just like the happy, fun, light stuff,
Right.
it gives it that authenticity for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you. You've shared some powerful moments like witnessing souls leave the body during CPR and seeing angels at trauma scenes. How have these experiences shaped your worldview?
Again, there's nothing to fear in death. And so when you
Mm,
see that much death, you understand that life is temporary. And I think that we as humans are taught by design to kind of fear, right? Fear death because it's that not knowing. So a lot of people don't live because they're scared of dying. So my invitation is it just kind of, for me, it just opened up everything like this is all playing out perfectly. We're here for just a brief moment. So please lean into your life. Do the
mhm,
scary things, have the hard conversations, burn the nice candles, take the trip. Do it now because
mhm.
none of us knows when our time is. And inevitably, again, death is as natural as birth. There's nothing to fear in it. And none of us know when our time is. So live.
That's wonderful advice. Having healed from trauma and addiction yourself, what role did intuitive healing play in your personal recovery?
A lot. I started with I had a lot of resistance to opening to this world because I had been, told it was bad and wrong. Additionally, I have a very practical, grounded mindset. So the paramedic in me, it has to make sense. Otherwise, I'm
Mhm,
gonna be like, what are we doing? And so
mhm,
I had to get over my own judgment around psychic or this energetic world. I started with meditation and then went into yoga. The bulk of my own personal healing came through shamanism, plant medicine ceremonies, and shadow integration.
mhm.
There's just a lot of willingness to sit with myself and integrate all aspects, the fragmentations and the things that we don't necessarily like about
Mhm.
ourselves. We can soften and integrate those. And so now I understand that the holistic world is awesome because there's so many different types of energy healing and so many different modalities, but they're all branches of the same tree. And
Mhm.
so as you're struggling with something, you can start in one area and it's this really neat journey that kind of continues to unfold, right?
Yeah, that's so cool. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, you've developed a practice called Empath-X to help sensitive people thrive. How does it stand apart from other healing modalities? I'm so interested to hear more about it.
Super practical. So, yes, Empath-X sensitivity is your superpower. There's a lot of literature and awareness on sensitives now and being
Mhm,
empathic. And what I've kind of noticed is that a lot of it is kind of victim or like, oh, I'm so fragile. I'm so weak. I can't go out. I'm just so sensitive, which I understand as an ultra sensitive. I know how challenging it can be to be embodied. And if we're willing to take personal responsibility for all aspects of our life, we can actually use these sensitivities as tools to really kind of accelerate the good in life. And so how it differs is one, we're flipping the script or changing the dynamic really of what it means to be sensitive. So from fragile to fierce
mhm,
and really leaning into how we can utilize these gifts and abilities to thrive. The
mhm.
other thing is, oh my gosh, I you could take the girl out of the ambulance, but you just can't take 911 out of the girl. I am all about practical, like very simple. Okay, why you were like this, what to do about it in the moment, what to do about it long term, 5 tools that you can use. And it is just very to the point. I think
Mhm.
that people are saturated right now. They're overwhelmed. They don't want, they don't have a lot of extra bandwidth. So they're just like, tell me what to do. So it's like, okay,
Right.
very much paramedic protocol. Like, are you
Yeah.
overstimulated? Is your nervous system blown out? Is your GI all messed up? Boom, boom, boom. This is what you do, right? Do you take on everybody else's stuff? Do you hear voices? Do you see dead people? Just this is what you do.
Mhm.
And we've got a community and all kinds of support so people know that
That's
they're not alone.
amazing. Can you share like one practical tip or just like a story or somebody that has used one of your tips to, just something that somebody could understand, like what would one of the tips look like right now?
Okay, super, super simple. So I'm seeing a lot of people that are just blown out. So
Mhm.
there's so much stimulus, there's so much fear and uncertainty. And well, what happens is the nervous system is kind of driving the bus, so to
Mm.
speak. And people's nervous systems are just getting jacked and it's dumping all kinds of cortisol in the system. From
Mhm.
there, the hormones go off. And from there, the gut goes off. And then from there, the emotions, the sleep, and then we go into addictive patterns and all of these kinds of things. Or some people are like, God, I just keep gaining weight and I'm not doing anything different. It just won't go away.
Mhm.
So something very simple for nervous system regulation is you just take your index finger and your middle finger. You find the back of your skull right at the middle of the neck, right on the vertebral column. Just relax the jaw, close down your eyes. You push and hold for 1 to 2 minutes, and you take nice, slow, easy breaths with a longer exhalation. So inhale to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 6. Just doing this for 2 minutes is like alt control delete reboot for your nervous system. And that's going to help you to ground. When you ground, you interrupt the cortisol cascade. And when you get yourself out of fight or flight, you actually have a chance at starting to feel better. And so something that simple.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. Shifting gears a little bit, the term psychic surgery is deeply intriguing to me. What does that entail and how does it support, the trauma recovery?
Psychic surgery is a specialty branch of energy healing. So I focus on medical intuition and then psychic surgery. Psychic surgery is very similar to a standard Western, except obviously there's no physical intervention. What we're doing is working on the energy bodies, as well as I'm able to see utilizing my clairvoyance into the body. So I can see in the organ systems where there's blocks, where there's fears, where there's stuck energy. So, a psychic surgery for layman's terms, it's like being pressure washed and roto-rooted. That's what people feel like. It's like, now everybody's just like so heavy or so whatever. And then it's like a total system reset. So suddenly they feel like themselves. And then from there, we give specific tools and homework that's tailored to you. But what it is in terms of energetics is we're working on the etheric template, we're
Mhm.
working on the astral plane, we're working on the somatic, emotional, and mental bodies to get everything balanced and flowing again.
Yeah, amazing. Sounds lovely. Sign me up.
I'm still very much a paramedic, and now it's just energetic paramedic. People are
Right.
just waving the flag, like, come on here. It's amazing because I love being able to just like totally overhaul,
Mm,
in a single session, just be like, get somebody up to that place where they're like, oh, thank
mhm,
God I can do this. And then they feel empowered
mhm,
because it's like we all need help, right? Like
mhm,
healers need healers, myself included. And so it's nice sometimes just to have that boost so that you can get back to a baseline. And then
mhm,
when you have the tools and you understand why this is happening and what to do about it, then you feel empowered, which
mhm.
is my jam. I love reminding people of their own power. Like you
Absolutely.
are your own greatest teacher and
Right.
healer. I'm here if and when you need that boost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been really becoming aware of the emotions that we hold specifically in our organs. Like, I feel like I've known that mentally or logically in my head, but just really am starting to really embody that in a different sort of way. It's been such a interesting kind of shift for me. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know.
And it's all interconnected, you know?
Absolutely, for sure. You've said you're not about spiritual fluff. What does real healing mean to you? And how do you deliver that in your sessions?
Authenticity. To me, spiritual fluff means bypassing. So
Mm,
human, yes, we are spiritual and energetic beings. Yes, we have higher awareness and consciousness, and we're here in human form with contrast, duality, gravity, and limitation, right? The egoic infrastructure is by design. There's
mhm,
nothing bad or wrong with it. So I'm not about bypassing the human condition, all about like what people are really doing. Because again, pulling from the paramedic background, and now I've had a full time practice for over 10 years, everybody's up to something, right? Just to get
mhm,
through, just to get by. So addressing the actuality of what is, and then continuing to empower that person
mhm.
with tools and understanding. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just real.
Yeah, that's amazing. In Empath-X community, what are the core practices and shared experiences that support the collective healing? Because I would imagine that there's a pretty strong bond of collective healing that happens there.
For sure. You know, one of the biggest challenges for sensitive people is feeling isolated or alone.
Mm.
And so the community really solves that problem because it's nice to come into a place and be like, what? I'm not the only one. People can talk openly about things that otherwise might be, questioned or condemned or whatever. And so having that sense of people from all over the world, so all kinds of different countries and places. And we have group healing sessions. I lead 2 a month. We've got guest teachers that come in to share different vantage points and different, practices. But the meat of it is it's real. Like there's
Mhm.
real people who have real lives and they're sensitive and energetic, but there's no bypassing of, what's happening. We support while simultaneously continuing to give tools and help them to remember their own power for healing and for clearing. But it's just, oh gosh, it's so nice to know you're not alone and you're not a weirdo. Like if somebody would have told me what 20, 25 years ago now, like, oh girl, there's nothing wrong with you, this is what this is and this is why, like it would have shaved so much time off my process.
Right.
I had to go through it. I
Yeah.
had to be forged in the fire so that now I can turn around and do that for people.
I just brings to mind, and maybe this has to do with soul groups, or I don't even know really where I'm going with this, but the idea of like, aren't we all kind of sensitive in certain ways? Like, are there levels, and not meaning levels as in good or bad or whatever, but I just think about like the human experience. It's hard for me to think that somebody actually comes into this human experience and they're like, I'm not going to feel anything.
Mhm.
I don't, so like, can you, I don't know. I don't know where that question came from, but it just came to mind for me that it's like, if there's somebody out there listening going like, well, I know a sensitive person. I know one of my friends that walks around and says they're highly sensitive, but I don't necessarily resonate with everything that that friend says. Like, can you speak to that? Like, are there levels or is there a scale? I mean, not, and I'm not talking linear, or like, yeah.
No, I
I
totally get it. And so everyone is an energetic or spiritual being. And there's all different types of soul journeys, experiences, contracts, karmic balancing, ancestral programs, and all kinds of other things at play. So there are categories of narcissists, sociopaths, borderlines. Those guys are just in their own, they're perfectly playing out what their curriculum is. And then there's people that are just really, really cerebral and maybe disconnected from the somatic body and the emotional body. So they can rationalize, but they can't really feel. And
Mhm.
again, that's playing out perfectly for them in their contract. And then there's us over here. Our nervous systems are 2 to 3 times as sensitive as the quote standard person. So we're just pinging, right? We're just
Mm,
on all of this subtle data that's around everyone all the time. It's just whether or not you have those filters.
mhm,
And again, the spectrum of giftedness, and this is cool because again, I thought I was this lone weirdo, right? But no, there's billions of us with more being born every day.
uh-huh,
And we are able to process and transmute energy, not just for self, but for collective. We're here to break karmic contract, not break, but integrate and release karmic contracts and break ancestral programs. And there's a lot of talk about ascension, right? And new
mhm,
right now in 5D and all that stuff. And regardless, like people are waking up, right? And those of us that are sensitive, we're processing a tremendous amount of the heavy collective energy, and that's assisting the shift in consciousness. So everybody's
Oh,
got their role.
right. No, I love that. Well, if someone is intuitively sensitive or spiritually gifted, but overwhelmed by modern life, what's one simple step you'd recommend to start reclaiming that superpower?
Piece of cake. So we start defensively until you understand your own power. So the key with Empath-X is learning to shift from being defensive, like I'm so sensitive I can't function, to offensive, I'm powerful. One very practical way to do that is understanding. So the auric field has 6 hemispheres: front, back, left, right, above, below. So understanding your auric field, your chakra channels, and your meridian flow, that's going to be a good thing. And if you're like, well, I don't know, that's okay. But just know that if you're sensitive and you're standing front to front with somebody, their energy comes really easily into the front of your chakras. So all you got
Mm,
to do is just turn your body to the side when you're talking to them. And their stuff will go around you. It can be that simple, right? Or just cover your solar plexus. Put your hand on your solar plexus and then turn your body. If somebody's just, spewing their stuff, doing their process,
mm.
just turn yourself to the side and their energy is going to go around you. And then when you remove yourself from the situation, press on the back of the skull and exhale. Long, slow, steady exhalations triggers parasympathetic. And that just drops the rest of the energy. So it's becoming an energetic ninja, really. It's learning to Aikido, right? And it can literally be that simple.
That's such a powerful tip. I've got to tell you right now, because I always feel like, well, even if somebody's angered in an angered state or whatever, I always have felt in my mind logically or something that I need to stand up tall and kind of, you know, be right in front of them and be kind of like present, and really that's like taking care of the situation for whatever it's worth. You know what I mean? Like, I just, like, when I think about that, when I'm in a tough conversation or whatever, I think about like facing front to them. So it's like, now what you're telling me is that's not really serving my auric field and serving me.
Yeah, well, it's just transference. And we as
Yeah.
sensitive just have this knack of absorbing everybody's stuff like a sponge. And then we got
Mhm.
to go deal with it for days or weeks or even.
Right.
And so when you understand, like, acceptance is the first key to this whole thing.
Hmm.
And everyone has their own coming to terms with process because people come from different backgrounds and family dynamics and understandings, right? There's a lot of dogma that goes against this type of awareness. But when you understand, like, okay, I am like this. So what am I going to do about it? Right.
Hmm.
And then we understand that getting grounded every day, clearing your energy field every day, uh, getting physically balanced and healthy, and then understanding your specific intuitive and energetic gifts. And so things like that. And there's lots more tools like that simple here in Empath-X, where it's just like, oh, okay, I can do this as I'm learning my own power, as I'm feeling what my energy feels like. Because I started out, I think most everybody starts with that. I got to bubble myself and I got to ground down into, and that's a great place to start. But half the time it didn't work. I still got spammed with everybody's stuff. And I was like, then I understood nervous system regulation, cortisol balancing, getting grounded in the body. And now I understand my own energy. So I just fill up my auric field, right? Which is kind of what you were talking about.
Hmm.
You fill up your own auric field, and a lot of that person's stuff will just ricochet off. But
Hmm.
standing front body to front body, just know energy anatomy, transference goes straight in the front, just like,
Yeah.
oh, there it is.
I love that. I
It's
love that. I have something that I'll be using often. So thank you for that. Well, tell us more about your new book. I'm super excited for you. This new book, Empath X, you've held it up a couple times, right? So what can readers expect?
So it is launching on September 9th. So 9/9/25. It's all nines.
That's
And
my son's birthday.
see, Again, very short and clear. It's only 65 pages. It's just to the point. Again, like if you're overstimulated, do this. If you take on everybody's energy, do that. If you feel lost and not understanding your abilities, do this. Very, very simple, clear, concise. So it's launching on the 9th. It's available for pre-order now.
Oh,
And
awesome.
we're uploading the Audible version as
Uh,
well.
Oh, very cool. I love an Audible. Thank you.
Yes.
Wow. So, Sarah, this is what an expansive life journey you've had. And thanks for sharing so much from your heart. I mean, your wisdom and just these practical techniques have really supported me for sure. And hopefully my listeners. Where can my listeners find you and stay connected?
SarahKGrace.com. So that's Sarah with an H and then kgrace.com. And you can reach out if you want a one-on-one session, if you want more information about the EmpathX community, or where to find, the books and all of the things.
Amazing. That's incredible. I appreciate it. So before we close, I just have wanted to do a few little rapid fire questions for you. So just
Yeah.
the first thing that comes to mind and, tapping into your inner sense. So what's one daily ritual that helps you feel grounded?
Exercise.
Okay. When do you feel most connected to your inner sense?
Endorphins, and I meditate a lot. So
Amazing. If you could whisper one truth into everyone's heart, what would that be?
live your life now.
Oh, amazing. So, what part of yourself are you still learning to love?
My intensity. I'm like a bull in a china shop in the spiritual world.
Oh, what's one truth you return to when everything else feels super, super uncertain?
This is all just temporary. So bringing it back to present moment.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Sarah Grace, for being here. I appreciate you.
For having me. This is
Yeah.
fun. And thank you to everybody watching and listening.
Yeah, amazing. What a beautiful way to end. Thank you again, Sarah Grace, for joining and for sharing your powerful, grounded approach to intuitive healing. The world truly needs more of your light for sure. And to our listeners, if you're listening and feel called to explore your own sensitivity or dive deeper into Sarah's work, all the links will be below in the show notes. And so until next time, keep trusting your inner sense. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode, dear friends. I would be thrilled to hear which part resonated with you the most. Your reflections on today's topic and how it sparked action in your life mean a lot to me. Feel free to share your thoughts at podcasts@innersensebeauty.com or leave a review. I look forward to you coming back next week to explore another exciting topic together. If you'd like to dive deeper, be sure to check out the show notes for some valuable links. Until we meet again, take good care of yourself. Know that you are surrounded by love and always trust your inner sense. Wishing you all the best, friends.